I got bad news for the Tennessee Titans, and that bad news is Montez Sweat is about to dominate this coming Sunday. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I got 4 reasons why I believe this man is going to be a dominant force in the Bears season opener. But before we get to that, speaking of the season opener, I've been asking you all week to get your score predictions down below in the comment section. Who wins? What is the final score? And hey, if you want to go above and beyond, let me know who the game MVP is going to be. Predict the score of this game. All right, reason number 1 why I think Montez Sweat will dominate. Well, the Titans right tackle is someone by the name of Nicholas Petit-Frere. And folks, he's been awful early on in his career. He's entering year 3. His rookie season was a full-time starter at right tackle, did not fare out. Last year, he was more of a backup. And look at the grades from last year. In only 117 snaps, he gave up 4 sacks and had 3 penalties. So 7 out of 117 snaps, he had a huge negative play. And that didn't even account pressures allowed, etc. His overall grade, 35.5. Pass block, 27.8. Run blocking was an okay 55.4, but still below average. This is just a straight-up mismatch because Montez Sweat typically lines up at that left end spot going up against right tackles. If it's one-on-one, advantage Sweat. Like, that's just going to be a problem for Tennessee and Nicholas Petit-Frere. I would expect them to throw different looks, chip with the tight end in the back a decent amount. But if you're Chicago, you feel pretty damn good about that matchup. All right, reason number 2, the Titans' offensive line as a whole is just not very good. There's a lot of question marks there. You got a rookie left tackle and J.C. Latham on the other side. We'll take a look at the Titans' offensive line and what I think they may try to do to try and slow Montez Sweat down. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Been telling you to download the Prize Picks app for quite a while. They were with us last season. They are back this season. The best daily fantasy sports app that exists. Download today, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. The way it works is simple. And by the way, all sports are available. You select 2 to 6 players in your Prize Picks lineup as long as there's players from at least 2 different teams. Can't have 2 players on the same team and no one else. Pick more or less on their projected stats and place your entry. Takes less than a minute to fire away your entry. I love this play. Caleb Williams, half a passing yard. You get that deal through weeks 1 through 4, which is absolutely fantastic. So obviously you're halfway home there on a 2-player entry. I love the demon play of Isaiah Pacheco finding the end zone on Thursday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens, depending on when you're watching this. Maybe that has or hasn't hit. But 20 to win 65 here. But if you just want to do a little 5-player entry, guess what? You get a $50 bonus with code CLNS after you play for $5. How awesome is that? Guess what? Doesn't matter if you hit or not. If you miss, you're still going to get a $50 bonus to have extra money to play with. So sign up today. Get that $50 bonus when you play for just $5 at prizepicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS is going to get you that deal. Check it out today. It's Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. Link is in the comments and in the description. All right, you look at the Titans' offensive line as a whole. We already talked about Petit-Frere. J.C. Latham, who has some talent, but I think he's a little slow. There was a couple clips in the preseason where he was sluggish moving around. I wonder if long-term he's a guard. Well, speaking of guard, if Montez Sweat is lining up mostly at left end, if they try to double with Dylan Radins, he's not any good. They had to kick him inside. The former tackle from North Dakota State who protected Trey Lance wasn't any good at tackle. So even if Tennessee tries to trap block with those 2 guys, I'm not sure that that's that effective. And by the way, if it is, you're getting isolated one-on-ones elsewhere. So I just think the Bears have an opportunity here to generate pretty consistent pressure because one-on-one, Sweat's going to beat Petit-Frere pretty often. If they have to double, A, Radins isn't that good. B, you're going to find openings elsewhere. So I think this is advantage Bears big time. And the Titans' offensive line outside of Lloyd Cushenberry and Peter Skronsky, who's pretty good at left guard, pretty unproven, if not just downright bad early on in some of these players' careers. So definitely an opportunity for Chicago. Couple more things I want to point out, but first, we will be live for our first regular season watch party of the year, Bears versus Titans, live at 10:45 a.m. Central Time, a full hour and 15-minute pregame show, getting you ready for kickoff. Then, of course, we will have the entire game, react to every single play, stat, injury, etc. Post-game reaction afterward, going to be a lot of fun, so subscribe and join us this week for Bears versus Titans. All right, number 3. Why Montez Sweat will dominate on Sunday. He's coming off the best pass rushing year of his career, especially once he joined the Bears. He had a pass rush win rate of almost 15%, which is pretty damn good, and that's for an edge rusher that historically has been better as a run stopper than a pass rusher. 12.5 sacks, a career high. By the way, PFF credits him with 16, so not sure what the discrepancy is there, but he was dominant last year. He transformed this Bears defense once he came over, graded out well through PFF as well. 64 pressures on the season, I believe, was a career high for Montez Sweat. Had 38 hurries also. I mean, this guy, he's not a Micah Parsons level pass rusher, but he's a very good pass rusher, and he's an elite run defender. That's what's pretty impressive. And by the way, that was without much help, right? I mean, Justin Jones was starting for this team. Javon Dexter, who we're hoping takes a leap, was still a rookie last year. So was Zach Pickens, who we'll see what his status is this week. He's been a little banged up. And, yes, we have talked about this defensive line still having some question marks, but DeMarcus Walker's here another year. You added Austin Booker. Like, Darrell Taylor is in the mix. If you get 10% better production from the rest of the defensive line, that's only going to make it even tougher for teams to slow down Montez Sweat. So I really like how things are coming together here. And early on in the season, we'll be able to figure out if whether or not they need to add another impactful defensive lineman at the trade deadline. But if Sweat does his thing and these other guys step up, that's going to be pretty good because the back seven is going to do their thing. We know that. How many sacks will Montez Sweat have against Tennessee? Will he start off strong? Drop a number, 0, 1, 2, 1.5, 3. How many sacks do you think for Sweat this weekend? Well, how about 2? Because in the only game of Montez Sweat's career against the Tennessee Titans back in 2022, it's one of the better statistical performances of his NFL career. 6 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits. I mean, that's a dominant performance. And by the way, Tennessee's O-line isn't that much better than it was then. I mean, they have Skoronski now, who's a somewhat proven player early on in his career. Latham, unproven. Petit-Frere, not any good. Dylan Radins, not very good. They signed Lloyd Cushenberry at center, but he's not going to be tasked with guarding or blocking Montez Sweat much. I don't see why Montez Sweat can't go out there and generate consistent pressure, set the edge, and just quite frankly be a problem and be someone that Tennessee has to key in on. And again, when you have to focus in on one player like that, it just lets your other guys tee off and just kind of stick their hand in the dirt and get after it. So I expect a big game for Montez Sweat. I expect him to go out there and generate pressure. And, I'm not going to throw a number out there in terms of sacks or anything like that. But I'll put it this way. When we're doing our live watch party and we're breaking down these plays, I expect to say his name more than one time. Like, oh, there's Montez. Like that's how you know a guy's playing well. Oh, there he is. Or how a guy's playing poorly. Like offensive line, like, oh, no, Nate Davis missed another block. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But, yeah, I think he's going to go out there, ball out. He was having a dominant camp, missed some time with an injury, but should be good to go. I think he's going to have a big game on Sunday, and that is bad news for the Tennessee Titans. All right, there you have it. Why I think Montez Sweat will dominate this week. We appreciate you guys tuning in. More Bears coverage to come as we lead up to week 1.